You know, everybody said they've had that one easy fight for themselves throughout the course of this event. This was mine. Welcome, everyone, to the fourth door. I am your host, the voice of St. Courts, and my throat is quite a bit sore after yesterday, so I'm going to keep my volume pretty low-key for this one, if you don't mind. I also might not be saying much because, like I said, this was definitely, most certainly, the easiest door for me. So I guess I'll just start from the top and talk about the general circumstances here. See, before I even get into the whole ruler decision and stuff like that, I already knew, looking into this, I'm like, I want my core party to be very strong. So we're going to go with a quick team because we're going to be utilizing Edmund Dantes here. Because ruler, yes. If it wasn't abundantly clear from just the menu beforehand at the very beginning of this this installment. Yes, if you noticed at the top of the screen, ruler was made prominent, so, I mean, I'd been holding back on him, but this time I cannot hold back any longer. The Avenger must fly. He must have his way. I cannot stop him. So, I figured I'd have the appropriate people to accompany him. I'd bring my level 90 Jack and my level 80 Atalante. Now, yes, archers do have huge star weight, but she's here for a better reason than just being an archer. You might think, well, I mean, you probably brought her for Jill de Ray, Saber, right? And it's like, well, that's part of it, but really, considering I got beyond Arcadia to level 10... yeah, I figured a party buff like that. Oh man, we don't have many of those for quick, so that'll come in handy, and it does. It does come in handy much later. So, but the rest of the party, the back row after that point, I was like, you know, this can be whoever. Like, not like I wanted to underestimate this fight, but I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, I guess a bunch of just in case. Now, the back row does come into play later. That's why I bring the plug suit. Because I'm figuring, you know, just in case things do go south. You know, I doubt it's going to be a circumstance like with Dayon. This isn't nearly as funky a setup as the third door. As I brought to the third door. So, I figured everyone here would live. Especially since Jack is going to be utilizing her Surgery E a lot. And considering it's extremely low cooldown, you know, we do have a healer technically on this team. But a few things to note. Marie's invincibility here, it took me way too long to think about utilizing Jack's information erasure skill. I also don't use Dante's first skill here to ignore invincibility because I don't want to waste it. Even though he has a Brave Chain here, he could probably smack Marie around pretty good, but I decide, you know what, let's take out all of her friends first, because if she wants to play that game, I mean, they're the ones who are going to bother me more, considering they have a quicker access to their Noble Phantasm, or their, well, their special attack. It's not really a Noble Phantasm. They just kind of do an extra powerful swing at you. But anyway, so like here, like yeah, you can see like he's already got his gauge up, and I'm like, well, Atalante, I'm really glad you can make a Brave Chain here. So you do your thing, girl. You do you. I mean, I figured I wouldn't have to use Hunter's Aesthetic at any other point anyway, and if I did, it'd be so many turns later. It wouldn't matter if I use it now. Now is the time. Especially considering I'm really trying to get her NP up because Atalante's NP gain sucks. Now, I don't like what Marie's doing here. She has been doing a lot of damage to my peeps. Not very fond of it, so immediately, I go for the stun. I go for the stun because I'm like, no, I see your NP gauge up. I don't like how you're smacking around my friends. You know, just not very fond of that. However, let's take the time to notice how long it took for me to notice, oh right, information erasure will take away invincibility. Well, good thing I can make a Jack Brave chain. But I figured, you know, okay, maybe the stun being on her isn't such a bad thing, because what if she lives? She doesn't live. She doesn't live, so I feel like crap, because I'm like, great. All because I forgot about information erasure. I didn't forget what it did, I just forgot about it entirely. Because of that, I'm like, oh man, I wasted my stun. Turns out that's not really going to be much of an issue. Here I decide, I'm like, alright. I'm not thinking of swapping just yet, because I know I want to use Beyond Arcadia. But I'm thinking, should I use Beyond Arcadia right now and then swap? And swapping Atalante out, of course. Because she can't use her NP yet. She's at 92, which is... Oh, the blue balls on that, let me tell you. I would love to make a quick NP chain out of these three. That was the plan, but, you know, okay. So be it. But I figure, you know what? Yeah. We'll use Beyond Arcadia. I said we'll use Beyond Arcadia. Takes me a little more time to realize. Yeah, let's use Beyond Arcadia. And then we'll swap out with MASH, because Dante's, well, he's very important to this operation. I don't want him to die. Even if we killed Jeanne right away, which you'll notice I'm targeting her right off the bat. Even if we killed her, we still gotta deal with Jill, who is not... he's not that much of a threat compared to even Jeanne, and Jeanne doesn't have a offensive NP. But, one thing to take notice here. I use enter Chateau d'If. I use that first because of the defense down. I want that so that Maria the Ripper, Jack's NP, will do way more damage. Because, of course, Jeanne resists everything. Also, another point, it's 200%. It's in overcharge. The overcharge affects the strength of the strength up towards female targets. So that's actually a multi-layered decision. That was like, alright, that's something I have to keep in mind always if I want to use Maria the Ripper, or anything that does a special bonus damage. That's usually the overcharge for that character. That's what usually applies there. So, put them last, as far along as possible. Also, it helped that Jack did have an extra attack with 100% chance to crit towards females, even though Jeanne didn't live to see that far into the chain. But, you know. And here, I actually really strongly get to make use of Dante's second skill, not his third skill, his second skill. His third skill comes later. And I get Chateau d'If again! So I'm really happy about that. I'm like, oh man, I'm hype. Using Surgery E again. Now here I'm like, okay, I know, now keep in mind, I know what Gilles de Ray's NP does in this case. It's not offensive like his caster version. All it is a buff for him. It's a buff for himself, but I want to stall his buff as long as possible and force him to possibly, you know, have to increase his charge with Sin of Wrath, or like, you know, just make him wait a turn on that buff, because it is a strongish buff. I don't want him like accidentally like one-shotting somebody, you know. So I'm like, hey, let's do it this way. Let's take out the warrior dude, the knight. He'll actually do damage. So again, we do Chateau d'If right off the bat. That defense down is awesome. Jack cleans up. Perfect. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Sin of Lust. But we're not on the... Oh, is that a reference to... No, that can't be. That would be a reference to Fergus. I thought it was Sin of Wrath. What in the world? Anyway, he gets his buff and he laughably charges a Jack. Laughably, considering that she had her evade up. And I didn't do it necessarily for the evade. I actually used her first skill for the quick boost, but whatever. Dante's finishes this with a stream of crits. It's over. Pretty much swept these guys. I made one mistake, but it didn't cost me, because really I was like, wow, when I took out Jeanne, I knew it was over. That was it. Just wipe my hands of this battle, it's over.